What's up, guys? This is going to be hopefully a quick video just to kind of show you how to get started with the server for 1.16.3. I'll show you how to make one, how to just get it set up, and where to find the documentation for some of the various configuration you'll need. You might need to edit. So before you start this, there's a few things you want to make sure that you have. You want to make sure your computer, you want to see if your computer is 32-bit or 64-bit. You want to see how much RAM your computer has. You want to make sure file extensions are enabled, and you also want to make sure you have Java installed, and I would recommend having Java 8 installed. And you want to make sure that Java matches your computer. So if you have a 64-bit computer, make sure you have 64-bit version of Java installed. So we'll just start with Java. So to check that, click the search box, type CMD, hit enter. Now just type Java space dash version, hit enter. Now mine says version 1.8.0 and it says 64-bit, so I have Java 8 installed and it says 64-bit version. If your command prompt says command not found or not recognized or an error message, that most likely means you don't have Java installed, so you need to install it. If this looks different than what mine looks like, it just means you have another version of Java installed, like say from Oracle's official website or something. But what you want to just look for is look for the version number and see what that version number is, and you want to look for if it's 64-bit or 32-bit. And you want to make sure if you have a 64-bit computer, you want to download the 64-bit version of Java. So to check your computer, go to Start, Settings, System, scroll down, click About, and then scroll down a little bit and you'll see the device specifications. Install the RAM, that's how much RAM your computer has. You want to make sure you have enough RAM for the server. So make sure you know what number this is. It might be 4, it might be 8, it might be 16. And then your system type. You want to make sure or see what this says, 64-bit or 32-bit. Most new computers will be 64-bit. But if this says 64-bit, but your Java here says 32, or somewhere in this string of text, you want to make sure you reinstall Java and get the 64-bit version. And then make sure it's Java 8 as well. So we're going to close these. And I get my Java from Adopt OpenJDK. You can do it from Oracle's official website or another source, but I just use OpenJDK, so this is what I'm going to show you how to do. So make sure you click the Java 8, and then the JVM doesn't really matter. And then if you could just click latest release, then make sure it says JDK 8, and then 64, and then save it, and then open this file and run it. It's just an installer, you just click next, 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 and then you finish, and you have Java installed. You might have to restart your computer, I'm not sure. But once you have that installed, you can go back to your command prompt and type the same thing, so Java space dash version, and that should show your Java version you just installed. So if that shows right, then you're good. So now we can actually start working and getting the server running, which is fairly quick. So go to PaperMC, the next link is in the description, everything's in the description. Click Downloads. Click it again because it's not loading. Click whatever the latest one is. So my latest is 246. Click the latest. Yours might be different. Save it to a folder somewhere. So on my desktop, I just have a folder called PaperMC Server. I'm saving it inside that folder. So now we're going to open that folder. And mine is over here. So if you do not see the .jar at the end, we need to update your settings. So yours might look like this. I don't know how your computer looks, but if it looks like this, just click View. I'm going to double click it so that the bar pops up. Click Options. Click View. And then on the bottom, make sure Hide Extensions for Known File Types is unchecked. So make sure you uncheck it, then you hit Apply, and OK. And then you should see .jar at the end of that file now. So the next thing we want to do is actually run, make the batch file that's going to run this server. Now this is only for Windows. Linux and Mac are kind of the same, but you just have to look for the the different command or the different file. Like on Linux, it's like you can make a shell script, I believe it's called. Mac, I'm not sure. But basically on Windows, right click, new text document, delete everything, and then name this whatever you want. So I'm going to name mine start.bat. Now the file extension has to be .bat. When we click enter, this will pop up. Just click yes, and then the file picture will be changed to like a little window with some gears or something. Right click, edit, and now we're editing the start.bat. So go to the next link in the description, which is the PaperMC docs, and this is not where I'm going to link you. I'm going to link you here. So go to getting started, go to running a server, and then this is what we're going to need. So copy and paste this command right here. I'm just going to scroll real quick. Okay. Copy and paste that right here. Go into your notepad document. Paste it in. Now we're going to go back to our folder, and we're going to see what version we have. So I have version 246. So I'm going to rename these numbers to version 246. Now the next thing is you want to make sure your RAM. So if you're on a system that only has, say, 4 gigabytes of RAM, you don't want to allocate 2 gigabytes. You want to allocate maybe 512 megabytes. If you're on a computer that's 8 gigabytes of RAM, that's fine. You basically, with this, you need to be able to allocate, like your server, your computer needs to be able to run it, and it needs to also be able to run other applications on the machine. So, your Firefox, your Minecraft, whatever you have running on your computer uses RAM. This, if you set this too high, your computer can run out of RAM or cause other issues that aren't good. So just make sure you don't set this too high. It all just depends on how much RAM you have, and that's why we checked earlier. So if you have 8 gigabytes of RAM or 16 gigabytes of RAM, 2 gigabytes here is probably fine. In most cases, you can just set this to 1, and it will run perfectly fine. Since I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, I'm just going to leave it at 2, because why not? And then at the end, I'm going to do space, no GUI. Now, this will just get rid of the little window that pops up. Actually, I'll show you what that is first. So I'm not going to do that, but I am going to add a pause at the end of this file. Now, I did Control S to save it. You can do File, Save. I'm just going to close it. So now when I start this, it's going to error after it loads, because we didn't edit the eula.txt yet. So it downloads vanilla jar. It's patching. We're using Java 1.8, and it's using the 64-bit version server. Good. That's what we want. So I need to accept a EULA that was forced upon us. So right-click the EULA.txt in your folder. Click edit, and type true. So I did Control S again, if you do file save. Now if you set the server, now it is starting. So this is that window I said would pop up. Now I don't like this. I find it redundant. So if you don't want to see that, just stop the server. Right click your bat file, your start file, edit, and at the end put no GUI. And then save it. I did Control S. You can do file save. Start the file, or start the batch file. And the server is running. So now if I join it, you can join it with localhost if you're on the same machine. And now the server is running, and I'm on it right now. So if I do /help, it shows the commands. And if I say hello, I'm on the server. So if I want to op myself, I do op space my name in the console. And now I'm opt on this server. And now if I do /game mode creative, it will work. So now I can fly around, and I can use all the commands because I'm operator. So yeah, that's how you set up a little server. Now that part of the video is done. This next part is just going to be kind of showing you where to find the documentation you might need if you're looking for something. So you have successfully started a server at this point, and all your plugins will be placed inside this plugins folder, and then you just have to restart the server, and your plugins should work if they are there for the correct version. And you can find them on Spigot or on Crackbug, wherever you find your plugins. Normally, I get mine from Spigot. So, we're gonna go over quickly some of the documentation stuff that you might be looking for at some point. So this is just going to be this last part of the video. I'm not going to go over it. I'm just going to show you where to find it, so you don't have to, look around for it. So first things first, if you plan on running the server with a lot of other people or public, or making like a public server, I would recommend reading this guide by Akar, I believe. Akar, I don't know how to pronounce his name, sorry. Really good article, really good. This will explain what the setup arguments are, what they do, kind of what he would recommend. I would definitely give this a read. If you plan on doing, like a public server, if it's just a private server with friends, it's not really needed, most of the time. So it's not your problem. The other thing is you're going to need something to edit the configuration files. Now, I've used Notepad++ for like 10 years. You can use whatever you want. If you can either Notepad++, you can use Notepad. You can use Visual Studio Code is another good one. If you want a more like modern, kind of more visual pleasing application, Visual Studio Code is good. Otherwise, there's Notepad++. Both are good. Both have add-ons. I think Visual Studio Code is a lot more. But those are kind of your options you can do. I use both. So the first kind of, when you're doing server stuff, you'll have a few configuration files. So besides the configuration files specific to the plugin you're downloading, you'll have a few main ones you'll edit. So let's see where they are. Bucket.yml, ops you don't really mess with except in game, paper, server.properties, and spigot. So these are kind of the 4 files that you might have to edit. The main ones you'll be editing are just the server.properties. If you're doing a lot of kind of server stuff, then you might have to edit paper.yml and spigot.yml. And it's like, well, where do I find the information that's in that file? Because if you notice, if I open, say, just the server.properties, I move it over here so you guys can see it, it doesn't say what it does, max players, that's kind of self-explanatory, but what is network compression threshold? I don't know what that means. So what I do is you go to the first link in the description for the server.properties, and you would do Control F, network compression threshold. So now it tells you what it does, and it tells you what, kind of, you can add to it, and some more stuff. Send in for, message of the day, etc. So this first link is for that configuration folder or file for the server.properties. For the bucket.yml, which you most likely will not have to edit, that will be this link on link. For Spigot and the paper YML configuration file are the ones you'll probably have to edit if you have to edit any at all. This is this file. Now the other thing to note is sometimes these pages aren't updated to the latest version. Because somebody has to update them, they have to be caught up. But most of the time they are, caught up enough to where you can just find a point to start at, and then you can ask around. So you just Control F, do player count or something. Player, I don't know. And you'd find, so if I wanted to find, netty threads, you just Control F, netty threads. And that's this file, the spigot.yml. So if I wanted to find what, I don't know, jump, walk, and exhaustion. We'll see if this is updated. Okay. So this is updated, but it doesn't tell you what it does. Besides the name. So, like seed slime, it'll tell you kind of what you want to do. So the last one is the paper docs. That'll be the last link. This is everything for paper. So every configuration option in paper.yml that is here. And you would just, if you want to find something, you could just, like I said, for everything, Control C, Control F, Control V, and then you get to that page and you can read about it. And it'll tell you what it does and how to edit it. So that's kind of it. You have a working server. Like I said earlier, all plugins, if you want to add a plugin from, the actual Spigot website, you go to, resources, and then you would download one, and then you would just place that in your plugins folder and then restart the server, and you're good. You have a working server. So if you liked the video, like it, subscribe, dislike it, whatever. If it helped you out, leave a comment, everything helps. Hopefully you guys have a good day, and I'll see you guys later.